Are we live?
Good evening.
Are we
Yes,
live?
we are indeed
We're
live.
live.
It took Ben, honestly, 4 attempts to count down from 5 just now. It's
Yeah, it did.
outrageous.
There were
Not a
some
very big number,
questions and
Ben.
interruptions.
No, they weren't. You're just you.
You're such a perfectionist.
Thank you for joining
That's
us.
the
Thank
problem.
you so much for coming along. I hope you have some fun with this one. This is Cecil and Cecily. We haven't done one of these for a while because we only do them very occasionally, and they are a special treat. Cecil and Cecily are Jacobean peasants who have a lot of fun.
Me?
How
Christ, Ben.
dare you?
Starts off going for the
Oh,
knees and it's only
man.
downward from here.
And
Blimey.
you're super special, are you?
Play
Good.
low.
Oh,
So,
honest,
this
good,
evening,
honest.
we have Luke. His internet's a bit vague, so you'll have to forgive him if he occasionally drops out and comes back in again. If it gets too bad, we'll probably stop. But hopefully, fingers crossed, everything will be fine. And we also have the wonderful Socks. So, first of all, Socks, how are you this evening?
I'm lovely. Thank you very, very much. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, this should be fun. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yep.
And Luke, I know you're struggling a bit, but are you okay?
I've got a new table.
I know that to be true. You sent me a picture of it, and you wanted to make it look as big as possible, so you put a very small daughter near it.
Why did I not also get the picture of the table? I like tables. Come on.
Well, it started small, but then the more I thought about it and got excited about it, the table got bigger.
See, Ed's excited. We all want to see the new table. Also, can we just spend a moment to say hello to Howard, who is Luke's face mate, I think, tonight.
Yes, Howard the Beard.
Hello, Howard.
Hello.
Right, see,
everyone.
Russ also wants the table. It's just necessary now. You can't say I got a new table and leave it there. Come on.
Very big. It's very big. It's very grand. You get 10 people around it apparently.
I mean, that's quite the boast.
We could have a Jacobean feast on it.
Oh, that would be
Pits
fantastic.
or it never happened, my friend.
I'm going to get a goose stuffed in a pig.
We're going to get a picture of Luke's wood in a minute. You watch.
Whoa. Fully
And we're
extended.
off.
Yeah. Anyway, it is a very smart-looking table. I'm very excited to see it in the wood, so to speak. Yes. So, Cecil and Cecily have had a couple of adventures. They were involved in stopping a heinous plot against King James I in 1605, and then they took a little trip over the sea to Flushing, modern Vlissingen, in Holland, to rescue a spy being horrendously detained by enemy forces. But this is a nice, gentle one where nothing can possibly go wrong. So, welcome to Cecil and Cecily Go to the Olympics. Cecil and Cecily, one-time random peasants, now elevated to Jacobean secret agents, serving the needs of King James by the grace of God, King of England and Scotland, and perpetual annoyance to the more militant wing of the Catholic Church. His Majesty thought it was tough surviving an assassination attempt in the full glare of the public. Worse was to come. Just a few years later, the king had to invent the publishing industry, though, as anyone could have told him, he found it really quite hard to get a good literary agent. These important events are the sort of thing that still resonates to this day. James hadn't been at the cutting edge of political assassination, if you'll forgive the pun. After all, Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar was still touring the country, and the body of Henry IV of France, assassinated in one of the touristy parts of Paris, was practically still warm. He was right at the forefront of publishing, of course, and perhaps that will be the thing for which he's most remembered. We know, however, that history should record him for something far more important. And for these events we have to review a letter sent to Cecil and Cecily at their lodgings in Cheapside, where the smells of London's markets are overwhelmed by the smells of London. Dear Cecil and Cecily, we are concerned for the welfare of our subjects. As you know better than most, we were close to murdered scant years past, and the King of France was killed about his business, both Catholic plots. Emperors of old provided entertainments for the people to distract them from matters less savoury. We have been approached by one Robert Dover, a lawyer of Chipping Campden in Gloucestershire. He is reviving the ancient Olympic Games and has asked for our blessing. Naturally, we've given him our enthusiastic support. Lord Sussex has, however, brought to our attention a possible problem with these Olympics. If, as Robert Dover intends, these Olympics are held in a spirit of open competition, they will prove a fine example of English honour, one to be compared to the tourneys of old. Sussex contends that they could be something else. Gambling, cheating, and other nefarious activities might be attendant upon the event. We direct you, our loyal and discreet agents, to attend the first modern Olympics and ensure that all is done in the proper way. Godspeed, James, King of England and Scotland, etc. So we find our heroes riding in a coach. The fast coach to Oxford took 2 days, then another overnight stop in Chipping Norton before the final journey to the small town of Chipping Campden. Rooms have been reserved at the Lion Arms, and this evening they are expected for dinner in the dining room, where they will be able to meet Robert Dover. So it is as the coach, the fast coach, arrives in the small town of Chipping Campden that we turn our attention to Cecil and Cecily.
Oh, wake up, my lovely. Wake up. We're nearly there now. You were dribbling all down my front, you were. You having nice dreams, my darling.
Oh, Cecil, I love you so much. It's so nice to see your face when I wake up. Where's my bucket? Did you hide my bucket again, my love?
There's somewhere in this place, but I won't tell you where. It's a little cheeky trick for you, my love. A lovely tricky chip.
I'm not looking down there again, my darling. Not when we're on the move. It's too much rough and tumble.
The last time I put a hole in it, it's a little trick. Oh, it nearly severed it off. Last time I used a little bucket like that.
No matter what we up to here then? What we doing?
I think we're here for dinner. Look at that outside. It's the Lion Arms, it is. Look at it. It's a lovely pub. Very
I don't
lovely.
like it.
You don't like what? Don't you like my lovely?
It don't smell like the river.
Yeah, look, that's why, my love. While you were asleep, look down at your bucket. I filled it with some river sprats.
Oh,
to get you that nice smell. But just splash it around your chops, my darling, and that smell will follow you in.
I love how you know how I like a fishy bucket.
Y'all do.
The
Now, come
Lion
on.
Arms,
Let me
as
get
it
that
turns
door
out,
for you.
is spelt the way you might imagine, Lygon, because, you know, central dictionaries hadn't really caught on yet, and wouldn't for a while. But it does have a very impressive shield of 2 lions on a red field hanging outside it. And the building is stone fronted with a more traditional wooden structure behind. It is quite a smart looking inn, and the coach actually sweeps in through the gate and stops in the yard inside, where the horses stamp a little bit because they're just being pulled to stop on hard ground before the coachman loudly announces that you have made it to Chipping Campden.
All right, darling. No need to shout.
I don't know the right thing to do here, my lovely. Do we pay the man? I don't know. I don't know what the right thing
darling,
to do.
you've been paid. You've been paid, have you? You've been paid?
Yes, all paid for, thank you.
Do you need some dinner?
I will be eating here. Yes, my next leg of the journey takes me out towards Wales.
He's talking about legs and Wales, my love. Would you like a sprat, darling?
No, thank you. I think the ham that I've been promised here will not go well with sprats.
He's got a lovely large piece of meat, apparently. I think we're fine.
Oh, that's so I've heard, my lovely. So I've heard about coachmen. Did you know that apparently in Wales they have a lower than average number of hands per person?
Ooh, I did not know that.
No, it's a very sad tale. I've heard very sad tale. Anyway, it's if you want fingers, you don't go there, my lovely. Come
I,
on.
I
And
do
anyway,
like a good fishy finger, so no, I won't be going to
yeah,
Wales
yeah,
in a
do.
hurry.
Come on. Speaking of animals, let's get you inside the lions.
Oh, let me alight. And she gathers up her skirts. Like she's got these enormous. Since she got elevated a little bit in society, she decided that the higher she climbs, the more petticoats she needs to wear.
Right, yes.
And they're still underneath this truly filthy skirt, like this heavy, like woolen knitted felted skirt. So she's kind of gathering up literal acres of fabric to alight as nicely as possible from the carriage.
Oh, look at you, how so radiant in your get-up. Beautiful a woman of leisure, I'd say.
Leisure? I still got me sprat bucket. I ain't changed. I'm still Cecil from the block, I am. I used to fish a little, now I fish a lot.
Well, don't you go changing, my love. Don't you go changing. After I did. I did like the look of that bucket with you. Bring it with you, yeah.
All right, darling, I will. And she puts it over her arm, like she slips her arm through the handle and it rests in the crook of her elbow, as if it were like a very, very fine French purse.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, it's a tin bucket that rattles quite loudly.
Yeah, being a sprat bucket, yes. Okay, so you step down onto the cobbles inside the yard. The A couple of stable lads are coming over to take care of the horses and make sure that they get their food. And the coachman is being led off to a low building towards the back, which essentially acts as the kitchen and parlour, where he will get some food and probably a something to drink before setting off on his next leg of his journey. But you will you'll be led instead through the main rear entrance to the sort of front of the building where the bar and the reception for the inn is. Inside, it's got a very nice, well laid floor, very level and even. It doesn't creak as you walk on it. It's extremely well constructed, and the main desk, the bar, and the visitors' book and everything are lined up just to the right as you come in through the back.
I'm glad this floor's very flat, my love. I've gone for the big shoes today, the very high heels for the fashion. Have you noticed?
They're
I'm like
lovely and
6.
clicky, Cecil.
I'm a very tall 17th century man. I'm up to 5'6" now, like towering over the other men.
Oh, I love your cravat as well. It's lovely. I
Nice,
like how you
nice,
tied it in
nice.
a knot as large as my fist.
You know, I used your fist as a measurement, my love.
Oh, it's beautiful, Cecil. You'll turn heads. I'll have to be careful to keep you mine.
I'm all of a dud, my lovely, all of a dudder.
There is a young woman behind the bar who looks up as you enter
Right,
and
eyes off.
steps
He's
over
mine.
towards you. She's petite, very, very small in stature, and she's one of those women who could be 16 or 130. And it isn't entirely clear which. And as she walks over, she sort of glances at the two of you and says, "Ah, yes. Are you staying with us?"
I am, and he's staying with me. Him and his
Excellent.
cravat, they're mine.
And she glances down at the book where they've made a note for a reservation, and she indicates where you should sign your names in the book.
Did you notice, my lovely,
Hmm?
that dandy Pratt's staring at my deflator hose?
It's because I ain't seen the likes of it over this part of the world.
It's very London fashion, my lovely, very London fashion.
Oh.
Oh,
Cecily draws, she signs the book, but she signs like a very crude drawing of a fish, like a child would draw. with a smiley face, but like a human smiley face.
Excellent. Yes, that's nice. Um, do you sign both of you in, or do you let Cecil sign himself in?
I sign us both in.
Good. Um,
Oh,
and the once the book is signed, the woman behind quickly glances down at it to check that you're who she was expecting, and then she says, "Can I offer you a drink?"
What have you got there, my darling? I went into that cider piss that you lot have over these parts. I grew up on that. It's not my liking.
We have an ale.
It's sunny. Hail, get it? No, ale like a dark ale.
It's fairly dark.
All right then. She offers the bucket. Fill it up with that, and we'll just take it over where we're sitting. That's all right. Never mind the sprats. They're for later.
Looks at the bucket and says, Normally we serve ale in tankards."
And normally I don't have to explain myself, darling.
Very well. And she carefully takes the bucket, looking at it a little disappointedly, and starts pouring, pumping ale into the bucket.
Don't jiggle like that, darling. There's a little hole in the bottom that we've put a bit of putty in. It's where Cecil likes to play, bless him. But if that thing comes loose, we're going to be pissing your ale all over your floor. So let's not do that.
She looks quite distastefully at the bucket when she hands it back. It is mostly full of ale.
Cecil, would you like a bit of bread to dip in your ale, my darling?
oh, thank you, my lovely. Look at that. The putty's holding firm. Said it would, didn't I?
You did a beautiful job, my love.
Oh, jeez, I did. I knew the size. I knew the size. Overestimated a little bit, but I think I got it right. I'd love a bit of bread for my ale, my lovely, just to wet the whistle, so it were, before the main event.
That Cecil, he's mine, and he'd like a bit of bread to go in his ale, please. And he's mine, and he'd like some bread, but also he's mostly mine. I'll share him a little bit if you ask very nicely, but only certain parts. You don't get all of him if you're on a share. But he's mostly mine, and he'd like a bit of bread, if that's all right. Thank you.
Well, our dining room is through there, and she points off to your sort of left. And if you would like something more than a drink, then I'm sure they will take care of you through there.
Just a bit of bread, really, to dip in the ale. Thanks, my love.
We don't have any behind the bar.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Thanks so much. And she sort of takes her bucket, very annoyed that it's too much of a walk to go from here to a dining room to get a crust of bread and walk back and give it to her. Being from London and all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cecil, there's no bread here. We have to walk a whole 9 yards over yonder because the barmaid's too tired to do it, so we must go ourselves.
Oh, I thought this was a nice place, and now here it is, all looking a bit tawdry. Got to do it ourselves. Miss Tapster here. She's not providing the drinks and ale if possible. I'll tell you what. The sooner we get to the main event, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Look, bring the bucket. Let's bring a couple of tankards. Let's go and get our food, and let's not worry about the bread. Let's tuck into whatever big beast of burden they're serving for us.
All right, darling, let's do that then. And she hoists the bucket over her arm, but reaches underneath and ever so gently loosens the putty just a little bit, so it does start to drip all over the nice floor.
Okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Understood. Well, as you make your way through to the dining room, you're sort of intercepted at the door into it by a man dressed reasonably well, not expensively by any means, but reasonably smartly. And he says, good evening. Your host is waiting for you. And points you towards a table where a man is sitting with a tankard of something in front of him, and ignoring everyone around him. He's perusing a small sort of sheaf of papers.
Cecily just looks
You be
really
careful with
blank.
the bucket, my lovely. Be careful. God, move that bucket a little bit. Some of that ale's got on my farting crackers, and I want to make them look nice and clean for this meeting.
Oh, hang on. She puts the bucket down and just spends a moment, like really roughly brushing down Cecil's trousers. But like really ostentatiously, so everybody knows that she's about to manhandle her fella.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Of course it does. The commotion does rouse the attention of the man sitting alone at the table, who looks up and sees the pair of you. He does seem to look
It's
a little
roused
bit.
more than just his attention.
He looks a little bit startled, and then curious, and eventually he sort of nods as if, "Oh right, yes, Londoners," and beckons the pair of you over to the table.
Right, darling, I'll just set my bucket down here if that's all right.
I'm sure it'll be fine on the floor. Yes.
How are we going to drink out of it if it's on the floor?
I'm sure they can bring you something else to drink out of that's more suited to the table.
Oh, he's one of those, Cecil.
He's all very hoity-toity round here, isn't he?
Mm.
One with a silver spoon between his buttocks, and a plum up his jacksie. Oh, can't trust people like these, my lovely. Keep your eyes open and keep your purse closed. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, love, you know you're the only one who gets to rummage in my purse anyway.
I know. I like to make big deposits in there when we're short.
As the two of you sit, I assume you're going to sit at the table.
Sure, but
Yeah.
the bucket is very firmly going in the middle of the table.
Okay.
With all the
right.
petticoats.
The young man at the door hurries over and says, "You must be hungry. Are you ready to begin eating?"
Yes.
Oh, we're looking forward to some food all the journey. Barely had a sprat between us, did we, my love?
There weren't many. Not many to start with, and now look. We've had to douse them. And with that, she fishes. She plunges her hand into the bucket, fishes about, grabs a sprat, wiggles it to demonstrate that she's found one, and then eats it as delicately as she can, and then licking her fingers afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Okay. The man says, "I'll bring food at once. Do you need any other drinks that aren't in buckets?"
Oh, they got against buckets here, Cecil.
Oh, I think this place is a bit fancy. Here, look, I'll take the lead in it, okay?
All right.
Excuse me, my good man. Can my good wife and I have two I don't know, maybe it's flagons. I'll try flagons of red wine.
Good morning.
Of course, of course, sir.
Thank you.
He leaves, and as he does, you notice the man at the table is watching the relatively slow but steady drip of ale coming out of the bottom of the bucket as it flows its way across the table and falls off to pool on the floor.
Oh, don't worry about that, my darling. I'll just sort that out in a jiffy. And she puts her hand and starts fingering about underneath the bucket until it stops dripping.
Okay.
There you go, sorted.
And
then she leans forward and licks what's been spilled off the table. Don't want to waste it. It's good
waste
stuff,
not,
innit?
whatnot. Yes. So the The wine is brought very quickly, just a few moments, and it's only a matter of about a minute or two after that that the food arrives. It's large slices of hogget pie.
Ooh.
This is lovely. This is so beautiful. This is a fine food you've prepared for us, my good man. Fine food. Now, oh, it's nearly as good as your pie, my lovely. You've never made a hogget,
Oh,
though. Never made a hogget, always a sprat, or a stargazy, or a sometimes trout if you're feeling like it.
oh, not so much the trout. I mean, not often.
No.
The pie is in fact delicious. It's got a very rich gravy. It has some good vegetables
Mm.
in it. It's nice. It's good quality stuff.
Oh, Cecil, try
It's-
my dripping. And she casts off a. I was fine until you laughed. Um, try my dripping. And she like gets a massive fork load of food and sort of stabs it towards Cecil's mouth.
Oh, that's lovely, that is. Let me just wipe it off my chin. Oh, oh, you know the way to a man's heart, don't you? Oh, yeah, those juices, succulent and salty.
Oh, that is what Mr. Marlowe said in it when we got back to Portsmouth.
It's very much so, very much so.
We know Mr. Marlowe. He's a playwright, not a very good one, but he's all right. He was an even worse spy, though, truth be told. Um, anyway, he's our friend, it turns out, after we had to save him. And that's how come
He,
the king sent us here, because he thinks we're all right.
he wrote a one-scene play about you, my lovely, didn't he?
Oh, I don't like to boast, Cecil, but go on, read it out. I know you know it by heart. Go on, say it.
He said, uh, enter the stunning lady with the sprat bucket. Oh, where is my love? She says. Oh, where is he? For I'm all alone. Me bucket is dry. I need my man with his strong hands to fill my bucket full of sprats. It was a beautiful thing. He was quite drunk that night, if I remember correctly.
Cecily applauds wildly and sort of eyes the fellow over the table like,
Um, he he nods and said, "It's remarkable in every possible way. Very nice to meet you. Um, I, I'm Robert Dover."
uh, we're friends. We're friends with a cousin of yours, I think, aren't we, Cecil? Do you know Ben by any chance?
That's right. I remember him. Different surname, though, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
Ben Smith, I believe.
So the the chap leans forward and slides across the table towards you. Um,
Oh,
a
wait, steady on there.
a
Steady on
piece
there.
of
No
paper,
sliding across the table. Oh, okay, that's better.
and on the piece of paper it is titled um, "The Olympic Games." And underneath it are a list of the events that are to take place over the next few days. Um, and they will all take place, he says, um, on a piece of land he's purchased for the occasion, um, a hill overlooking the town itself. And people will head their way up there in the morning for the event. They'll all happen essentially simultaneously, but different heats at different times. So by the third day of the games, it'll be time to finally declare winners and award prizes. And the list of events are down there, and they are exactly what you'd expect from this time period, of course. Shin kicking, sledgehammer throwing, a running event, a jumping event, Dwyle flonking, and bat and trap.
Oh, Dwyer flunking, my lovely. You were good at that back in your day.
oh, reminds me of our honeymoon, Cecil.
Oh, Oh, remember that other couple we could find? They did a bit of private while flunking with us back at back at the house.
Not in front of the good company, Cecil, for heaven's sakes.
Yes, he noticed you looking at that. Do you flonk yourself?
Many a time,
Oh,
my friend.
I normally do it when she's out. It must be said.
Naturally, yes. Probably not ideal for the ladies. Um, so, um, the concern, as I understand it, is that there might be nefarious elements in the town, or people coming in from outside who might take these games and spin them into something undesirable. I haven't seen anything like that myself, you understand, but any help I can offer, I will happily do.
Undesirables. I've not seen any They always say though, don't they, Cecily? If you don't see any undesirables yourself, you're probably the undesirables.
That is true. He does say that a lot. He says a lot of things. I personally wasn't a big fan of the barmaid. I'm just saying.
I don't know, my lovely. She had quite a good pouring arm. Give her that at least.
She sneered at the bucket.
Now that is true, and that is a big sin, a cardinal sin that you can't really overlook. And that's why next time when I order, I'll bear her eyes no heed, my lovely, and I'll flick my coin onto the tabletop and not give it to her by hand.
Oh, you're a good boy,
It
Cecil.
is the English way after all, my lovely. English way after all.
We've been married. How long is it now? Like 90 years? I
Oh, it
forget.
is so long. It feels, I don't know. Numbers
I,
are
I,
my strong point.
I think I can only count up to 22. But I know it's more than that. Because we got some kids. How many kids we got? Not more than 22. I just forgot because I was drunk for some of them, and some of them just, I don't know, I got bored of. Anyway, we've been married a long time, Mr.
Oh,
Dover.
it's
Are
a
you
very
married?
long time.
Long time.
Oh, so long, so long. Wouldn't switch a day of it.
Oh, not a moment. Are you married, Mr. Dover?
I I am indeed. My wife is not with me this evening, but yes,
Oh, that's a shame. Does she flunk?
uh,
Oh, we could have played mixed doubles in the flunking.
she is not a particular enthusiast of sporting endeavour, especially things like bridal flunking, which are team events, of course.
Well, yes. As we all know, Dwile flunking is definitely a team sport, isn't it? So how should we begin then? What would you like us to do first?
Well, I thought, truthfully, we would have to come to some plan based on my knowledge of the local area and your knowledge of how to do these kind of investigations. This is not my area of expertise.
Ah,
I thought perhaps either you could gather information by seeing if there's any quiet skullduggery going on in the darkness of the night this evening. People making quiet plans to place bets on events or something like that. Perhaps you could keep an eye on the competitors in case there's
ooh.
any evidence of some of them taking bribes, perhaps to not give of their best in the competition. I'm just trying to think of all the ways in which this could be manipulated or or you know.
Subverted.
Indeed, yes.
God, it's a very big call, though. Very big call. A big event like this, a big thing like the Olympic Games. Did you say? Oh, something like this. There must be tens of competitors.
Oh, there are tens of competitors, and
Oh,
some of
that's
the
a lot.
big team events. I mean, we have 8 teams in the bat and trap, and 10
Oh,
in the
that's a
dwell
lot.
flunking.
Well, it's a
10.
popular sport, it's a popular pastime.
We'll have to maybe check them, have a look at them all, and make sure none of them are up to no good.
Are you going to ask to see them naked again, just to make sure that is your way, of course, isn't it, my lovely? Just to
We
make
don't
sure they're
like
up
them
to no good.
smuggling. We know how people like to smuggle things into these types of things.
They certainly do. Oh, I'll tell you what, my lovely. Actually,
All right,
maybe you
darling.
should enter the shin kicking with the barmaid.
Am I allowed? I'd heard that women weren't allowed to enter shin kicking on account of our tiny, tiny legs.
We don't have female competitors in the event. Women are, of course, welcome to attend, but only to spectate.
Excuse me?
Oh, you've done it now. You've done it now, my friend. You've done it now. It's okay, my lovely. He doesn't know what he's talking about. They're many years behind the ways back here. It's not like London, where you're allowed to walk on your own during the day. We're very forward-looking in London, not like up here.
And I can carry my own bucket in London.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
it.
can kick whomever shins I like in London.
You're entitled to kick anybody's shins you like here as well, though.
Oh, good.
As
and
a
with that, she
lawyer,
kicks him under the table.
Ow. As a lawyer, I should point out it is common assault to do so.
Oops.
Ow. You're
Are you
just not
calling my
allowed to
wife
do
common?
it competitively.
I have a plan, Cecil. I do. And she pulls him to one side and whispers into his ear, "More than anything in the world, I want to enter the shin kicking contest, and I am prepared to do it in disguise."
You don't mean bringing out old faithful, do you?
I do. And old Coggleblock.
I think the mice have been at it a bit. It's a little bit ropey around the edges.
If I get a bit of charcoal and draw it on around the edges, I don't think anybody will notice.
I think you might be right, my love. I don't think you can wear all those beautiful petticoats you're wearing, though. I might have to lend you one of my smaller suits for you to get into. One of my breeches, my thundercrackers for you to get into. I think you'd look fine and dandy dressed up like that, my lovely. Fine and dandy.
Then we have a plan. We are agreed.
I'll tell you what, idea. Excuse me, my good men. I do have a friend from from Spain who would like to enter the shin kicking competition.
Can I just briefly say, Luke, you massive shit. Now I have to do that accent.
Another hospital pass, Luke. Really?
All right, Spain it is.
I think he take part in the his name's Manuel. He's very good. I'm surprised you don't have him already, to be honest. He's one of the best in Spain. He breaks a man's legs nearly by looking at it before he even kicks it.
Well, he
doesn't even use straw.
He
says it's cheating.
He sounds very much like the kind of person we need in the competition.
Well, where shall I tell him to be and when?
For entry at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning at the field.
10 a.m. tomorrow, okay. I'll make sure he's there. I'll let him know. He's very talkative, though. Very talkative.
Well, I think talking is an important part of the of the build up to the shin kicking, at least. Then obviously it ends usually with someone yielding.
Not him. He can talk his way out of any situation. He never yields. He never yield. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me bring a friend in at the very last moment.
You're very welcome. Registration is still open. I mean, some of the people who have who might be entering the individual competitions technically haven't sobered up yet, but we expect them there in the morning.
Now, if you excuse me for a second, I just need a brief word with my good lady wife. She's very English. She's very feminine.
I'm the
Now,
most English and very feminine. Mr.
now,
Marlowe said so himself, as did those fellows who were chasing us out of the underparts of Westminster. They were all like, oh, golly, Cecil, you look like you're stuck in a hole and you are very feminine.
she's very. Now, listen, my lovely. This might be our in. If you sign in, you can be around some of the competitors. Maybe find out if any have some. You can keep an eye on them, see if they're up to no good. And of course, as it's all gentlemen together, you may see them in slightly fewer items of clothing. See if they're carrying anything.
Oh, you
Anything unsuspected. I know.
Oh,
That was my
but Cecil, does
Yes.
this Manuel, but does he possibly have a representative translating agent of some kind?
Oh, it's a big. He died sadly. Tragic tale.
That
Tragic
is a
tale.
shame, isn't it?
Eaten by a warthog, so I heard.
Oof.
It's
Hang on a
tough.
second. I must look up what warthog is in Spanish. Okay. Well, it sounds like we got our work cut out for us tomorrow, doesn't it?
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what.
Hmm.
I've translated for him before, and I'll step in and do
Ooh.
it again if need be.
Oh, that's
My Spa-
very nice of you, Cecil.
A lot of people don't know it, but my Spanish is very, very, very on point. I believe is the saying down in London these days.
I hope it's better than your French, is all I'm saying, my love.
It's a, it's my French isn't so good. My Spanish is pretty good though. I think I can follow it through. It's all Dutch to me, though, my love. All Dutch to me.
Oh, she
Let's,
slaps his thigh. You are funny.
Right, I know. Anyway, thank you, my good man. You said 10 a.m. tomorrow for signings for my good friend Manuel. Maybe my lovely, we should sneak around in the night,
Tired.
look for some quiet skullduggery. See if we can play some bets with some Miss
No
Miss
bets.
Clance.
We're not looking for bets at all. But I
Maybe some
think
of them are.
I think maybe we should have an early night, Mr. Dover, if that's quite the same to you. And
Ooh, I like
tomorrow I might have some ladies' time, so you fellas can meet Mr. Manuel together.
Okay. Well,
And she starts. Well, she will clear plates of food that's untouched, the flagons of wine, the bucket, like basically everything edible. She's going to take with her to their rooms.
okay. Yes.
Even Mr. Dover's food. She's
Well-
having a lot.
Well, Dover, to be honest, does look quite reassured to have met the two of you and this matter
Yeah, of
that
course he
was
does.
of
We're
concern.
quite something.
Well, you know, he was worried that there was something potentially going on that might be a problem for him, and now it's off his plate, so to speak. It's there are now experts in town who will deal with this.
quite literally off his plate.
Yes, quite literally off his plate. He glanced down to where his plate was, and it's disappeared.
So can I have two movie references at this moment?
I don't see why
The-
not.
The first one is Melissa McCarthy at the end of Bridesmaids, where she's having the weird, sexy times with all the food with the air marshal she met on the plane. And that's like the fade to black moment for Cecil and Cecily, but with like the pie and the flagon of wine. And it's just like very what's the word? I can't think of the word. Just lots of appetites being satisfied.
Okay.
And then And then in the morning when they wake up, can you know that minute, that bit in Shakespeare in Love where she dresses up as a boy and there's like all that lovely music and beautiful lighting and bandages and places, and can we have that when Cecily's getting ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yes, no reason why not at all. And in fact, I think the moment that the two of you tromp up to bed with bucket and leftover hogget pie and gravy and vegetables and flagons of wine and plenty of ale and sprats in your bucket is a good time for us to take our little break.
A break. Yeah.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll return in just a few minutes for the second half of what will no doubt be part one of Cecil and Cecily.
I was going to say
Go
the
to the
second
Olympics.
quarter, let's say.
Yes, something like that. The second quarter. See you in a few minutes.
Bye.
See you in a few.
And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. And it is still 1612. It is early morning in the a very nice little rural part of the Cotswolds in Gloucestershire. And Cecil and Cecily arise from their beds, and Cecily is getting ready to dress up as a man, which is de rigueur for these events, it turns out.
To be honest, it's not that unusual for Cecil and Cecily either. It's
No.
It's a game they often play, shall we say?
Yeah. And so, with all that happening, while Cecily is getting ready, is Cecil doing anything different or just getting ready as well?
Mostly giving up. He's bought a bag of finery for the event. He's got some very big pantaloons that come to knee with some lovely red stockings underneath. He's forgotten his lacy neck piece, so he's been hunting for a doily to cut a little hole in to poke his head through. He's trying to look quite the figure, trying to strut his stuff alongside his good lady wife, who's becoming his good friend Manuel.
Manuel.
So the other thing I have to ask is, as Manuel gets ready, is he doing any special preparations for the shin kicking that he intends to enter?
Manuel is taking some very fine slices of wood of the table and then sticking them down his socks to help protect his shins a little bit. But also he is going to grease his shins and then put the wood over the top and then the sock over all of that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yes. Good to know there is a plan. This is excellent. Right. So
and then lots of whiskey to dull the pain. Really, that's
fair enough.
Yeah.
And
making sure that Cecil's pantaloons are just a little bit tight in the crotch area, with a slightly larger than normal. What's the word for the frontispiece that he used to wear?
The codpiece. The codpiece.
The codpiece. Yes, just a slightly larger than normal codpiece, so she can get distracted at critical moments.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, that's Cecily's plan.
All right. So
it's a strong plan.
You go downstairs and presumably will sneak out the back so as not to.
I don't go downstairs. I swagger downstairs. Thank you very much.
Okay. And stepping outside, you realise that the high street is quite busy with people. They all seem to be walking in the same direction down towards the bottom of the high street. And as you can see from where you are, they're getting to the bottom of the high street and then turning right. This is clearly the direction to go if you want to attend the Olympic Games.
That's the way we go.
Oh, it's getting busy.
But I have a cape over. Okay, so let me just really describe Cecily in this moment.
Yeah, by all means.
She has a hat on that's kind of a bit floppy, and it's this deep, lovely red colour, and it's got a bit of a lacy fringe. She has what is quite obviously, well, not quite obviously, because they've done a fairly good disguising job. She's got, by the way, we don't roll dice in this game, do we? We don't. That's fine.
Not really.
She's got what, if you look closely enough, is a merkin on her face, but they've kind of blended the edges with a bit of charcoal.
I'd like us to roll for the merc. Can we have a merkin roll, please?
I mean, the merkin's called Howard in honour of your own fine beard.
Thank you very much.
So the merkin is tied on with the strings going underneath the floppy foppy hat. She's got like a beautiful ruffed collar that is brushed by the beard. And then quite a lovely coat that doesn't fit her very well, but they've kind of stuffed it with feather down from the pillows. Gloves to hide her fine fisher lady fingers.
Of course.
Some pantaloons that end just below the knee in like a lovely ruffled edge, and then bright blue and yellow striped socks with pieces of bark and table wood underneath. And then these very lovely buckled black shoes, which are in fact Cecil's best shoes and several sizes too large for her. And she's strutting down the road with a large walking cane in her right hand.
Since the shoes are too large for her, has she sort of taken the opportunity to put like a stone in the front of each one or something?
A stone and then a folded up handkerchief, which is kind of abutting up against her toes.
Okay, excellent. All right. You make your way down to the end of the high street and turn into a road called Who Lane. It crosses what's called the back ends, which is a road that runs sort of parallel with the high street behind all of the gardens and yards behind the various buildings, and then begins to snake up a hill, fairly substantial hill. This is the Cotswolds after all, and the at the top of the hill, as you follow this sort of, well, not just follow, you're in the midst of a crowd of people walking up. There are a lot of people who are clearly geared up for competition and are looking forward to that. But there are plenty of just local people and people from further afield coming to enjoy the Olympic Games, something which, after all, some of these will have heard of, but not the ancient Olympic Games, which they may have read about, but they have no experience of a real Olympics. They don't know what a multi-sport event looks like, and they're very excited about it. At the top there is what amounts to a large open grassy field in a sort of slight depression in the top of the hill, and this field is filled with people. There are some tents where food and drink is being served. There is a lot of noise, a lot of laughter, a lot of chatting, a lot of people, handling the nice sunny day with aplomb, sitting down on the grass or on blankets. And at one end of the field, a tent has been erected, which has a hand painted sign on it indicating that this is the competition tent for competitors and judges and so on to go and register and to update with results and the like.
Oh, oh, my lovely, my lovely, my lovely. Sorry, my amigo, my amigo. I'm sorry, I'm a bit worn out from going up that hill. Let me calm down for a minute. I was kind of okay at the start at Who Lane. Then I got very, very comfortable in the back end, as no surprise to you.
As we so often are, my love.
That's definitely my strong point. But when things got steep, oh, need to catch a bit of a breath. You've really been working on your accent, my amigo.
I am basing it off that cheesemonger in Likespol Lane.
It's very good. I'll tell you what, my amigo. I'll work as hype man for you for a second, and then we'll go sign in. Bear me a second. Are you out flexing? That's quite a bit.
I am. Oh, and also, sorry, I meant to. She's also wearing a quarter cape. You know, one of the little things that covers her shoulder and goes down to the elbow. And it's buckled at the neck, and she undoes the buckle and then gives it what she imagines to be a matadorial swish.
Yes, a sort of swirl as she takes it off.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, gather ye round. There's a late entrant for the shin kicking competition. It is my lovely amigo.
Hacienda, non amigo, me gusta.
He's saying that he's very happy to be here. It's my friend, Manuel, the greatest shin kicker.
Donde está la stazione?
That's it. Don't look at him, my friend. He's calling you out. Avert your eyes.
I fear no man.
He says he fears no man.
Okay.
And all of you put your shillings and your farthings on him. He's got very strong toes. He has very strong toes.
My toes fear no man.
The
And his shins are like sturdy English oak.
She
inside
beats her stick against her shins. They're like iron from the hills of Catalan.
If you can't understand this sign that he's very happy to be here.
Ben, can we just do this for an hour? I stand there all day in your puny English sun on your hill in the countryside. I fear no man.
Does anyone want to come and take an unofficial pop at the Spanish champion before we get an end to proper
She
life?
extends a leg in a heroic lunge. You come, you touch, you do not beat.
it actually gets a little round of applause from people standing around. They're looking forward to the fight, and
He swishes the cape back onto his shoulders and bows gallantly.
and indeed, as you approach the sort of table in the competition tent, you see Dover with his wife Elizabeth now manning the tent together, and he looks up and looks at Manuel just a little bit curiously, like
Manuel bangs the end of his stick on the table. Hello, it is I, Manuel. And then he bows and takes the wife's hands and kisses it courteously. Once on the wrist. My lady.
It is enough to convince Dover that this is not a scam of any kind, and he uses his quill to carefully enter Manuel's name into the shin kicking.
That is Manuel with two M's, one at the start of each word.
Thank you, Senor.
Senor, by name and by nature.
Welcome. And he looks down at the sheet and he says, your first match will be at 11 o'clock, and your opponent is Jack Spelt.
Jack Spelt? Jack spoiled. I will ruin him for other men. That was like the worst thing I've ever said. I'm so sorry.
What time was that again, my friend? What time was that again, Mr. Dover? Have to be careful. My friend from Spain, he likes a siesta. He likes a siesta. 11, that's okay, isn't it?
After victory.
Okay.
I fear no man!
And the having completed that, you sort of see other people queue up and register their own competition. There are people registering for all of the various things, for the running and the jumping and the sledgehammer throwing, and obviously the team events as well are being registered as well as the teams are turning up. I don't know if Cecil is interested in entering an individual event.
Oh, well, back in the day, I was a pretty strong man. Now,
Is there a
the years are
javelin
creeping
thrust
upon me.
event?
There's this sledgehammer throwing. Back when I was a young lad in Birmingham,
my love, mon
on
amour.
the streets of Birmingham, I used to throw things around quite regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I could quite have a go in the murky streets of Birmingham. The sledgehammer throw sounds right up my alley. And I
Okay.
like things right up my alley.
Then in that case, you register for that. The sledgehammer throwing is not a head-to-head competition. It's done in a series of heats.
Is it like welly flinging?
But
Like you just
but
turn up
everybody
whenever you
just
want?
steps up
Welly
and
wanging?
takes a turn.
Yeah, do like wanging a welly.
Yeah, it's the same basic process.
Okay.
So it will take place over 3 days. The first day will, everyone will have a go, and then they'll be measured and ranked, and then there'll be a second heat on the second day, and again everyone will have a go, and on the third day the best two will compete for the for the prize.
Oh,
So
I'm quite the wanger, my lovely. At least I think that's what people say about me. So,
He is a wanger. He fears no man either. He wangs any man victoriously.
my
okay,
wanging is renowned. I'll wang off the edge of the hill. I'll wang over the people. Makes no difference to me. I'll wang whatever you want me to wang, and I'll wang it well.
You will wang it out and you will wang it far.
okay.
I'm a fine wanger.
And he sees Manuel sees like women, children staring at him, and he offers them a touch. You may touch my leg. I fear no man, and no does my leg. You have never seen the like of my shin in your life. It fears no man.
The first heat
Blundering.
for the sledgehammer throw is at noon today.
Known. Okay. So now a bit of business now, Mr. Dover. A bit of business. Since you've opened sign-ups, has there been anything a little bit suspicious from any of the competitors since you've been here? Anyone in particular you'd like us to keep an eye on?
Well, nothing particularly unusual, but I did see one thing that maybe is worth looking into a little bit.
I will peer suspiciously.
Gareth Dawes, a competitor from Wales, when he arrived, he registered for the shin kicking and the sledgehammer throwing. And what was interesting was, you know how when a sort of local favourite is around and he's signing up, his friends will sort of come along to clap him on the shoulder and that kind of thing when he's signing up and getting his name in the book. Well, normally if it's someone from further afield, they don't have local friends or anyone who's watching them that much. But it did seem a few people were paying a lot of attention to him signing up and sort of looking at each other significantly. And I was worried that maybe they were relying on him to be, someone they were looking for in particular.
Did he have suspiciously large shoes?
I noticed nothing untoward in him. It was the reaction of others around him.
Now, listen here, my good man. Do you have any power over the drawers? Not like the panty drawers, but the drawer of the competition. Is there any way you could put him in first up against my lovely amigo?
Manuel.
Not the first round. That's already been drawn. But in the second round, should Manuel make it through, then yes, I can probably arrange for Dawes to be Manuel's next opponent.
Might be quite good if I can be in the crowd during that time. Maybe during his first, we can sort of infiltrate the crowd a little bit, try and get a little understanding of what's going on, and then if you get through my lovely amigo, then that could be quite interesting.
Okay.
As it is said, so shall it be done. I fear no man.
This sounds like a good plan. I will try to make sure that everything goes as you suggest. As for the sledgehammer throw, that's just going to be everyone taking turns at the line. There's no heats or control over that at all.
No, that's fair. I think that'll be a little bit trickier. I think it's easier to get everyone around for very specific situations. So maybe the shin kicking's the place to go. Infiltrate the crowd, maybe get a little bit of betting understanding, and sort of see what they're saying during his combat fight.
Okay, all right. Well, his first match in the shin kicking is at 9:30, so it's just a few minutes away.
Oh my goodness! quicker, my amigo. Maybe we should go and catch
Let
the.
us away.
Ah,
Whips the cloak
I-
around,
I
takes off into the
pictured that as
crowd.
well.
Beautiful.
Striding.
So sweeping out of the tent, you do find that over
I mean,
to
Cecily's only like 2. She's tiny. It's
over
like
to
Danny
one,
DeVito out there.
over to one side, you can see the first of many round robin matches in the Dwyle-Flonking has already begun, and the two teams are arrayed around the bucket, ready to play. With the referee already making sure that the team on the outside is listening to the instructions and going in the direction that they're told to go by the referee as the game progresses. And
There
there
are
is a
some longing
small
looks at the bucket, but she stays in character.
and there is a group of people clustered around who are obviously waiting for the match itself to start and hoping for some 3-pointers in the match, of course. And another group is assembling around an area set aside with pegs in the ground for the shin kicking. And the very first match of the shin kicking is indeed coming up. And when you start to approach, they're in the process of announcing everybody, and they announce Dawes, the Welsh wonder who has come from a mining community and is known for being able to carry huge rocks up cliff faces. He's a man of who works in quarries and who is considered very strong, very tough, very powerful.
But Cecily like twizzles her what is now becoming a moustache and says, there is no point in being strong if you just kick somebody in their shins. It is about how much pain you can take, not how much your arms can carry.
Yes, well, the two of them line up and take firm hold of each other's sort of upper arms. Both bow their head to look down at the ground between each other, and wait for the referee to give the instruction. And
Is there a keen crowd? Is there like a specific group that seems to be pointing out for Gareth?
there's a large crowd gathering for this one. Yeah.
Does there seem to be a group of people particularly Dawesian?
Not Dawesian. If you're looking at the group, most of them are scattered in a rough circle around the outside of the designated area. But when you glance at it, there is a sort of concentration of quite well-to-do looking men who are clustered together, and they do appear to be a group. They're sort of talking to each other, and they don't look like they come from the immediate community. Like they may have come in from out of town to enjoy the games.
I'll tell you what, my amigo. Actually, no, while I was listening, can I call you my lover?
Oh, God. When I get up like this, that'd be great. I mean, all right, my darling, that'd be lovely.
I must say, this is quite weird. I'm getting all kinds of strange emotions going on one side. But on the other, shall we watch it from by these guys and maybe introduce you to them and see if we can understand why such well-to-do men are around watching this from afar?
If you want to question them, I can go and stand by the other competitors and do a little turn. She just can't get out of that voice now. She's stuck. It's like a whole thing. She's loving every minute of it.
Okay. Cecil goes and stands not too close, but close enough to the men to see what's going on. And as the bout begins, they turn their attention very firmly to what's happening in the area. So if you wanted to sneak up closer, you definitely could by just staying out of their line of sight, because they are very much focused on the shin kicking.
I think that seems like the best plan.
Okay. And meanwhile, Manuel is going over towards where other competitors are watching.
Mhm.
Okay.
And she's going to throw her stick down on the floor and dance over it, almost like a reel. But she's going to be flicking a cape and like kicking her feet out like a jig, almost, just to be like super confident. I fear no man. And, yeah. So help me God, I want that on a mug. Anyway, yeah, that's what Cecily's up to.
You are indeed gaining a bit of a reputation for confidence. There's no question. One of the guys is looking at you, and he looks a little less sure of himself than perhaps you'd expect for a competitor about to enter the arena.
And
And
Manuel winks at him and hops onto the other leg.
and uh, and you can sort of guess, though you haven't been introduced, that this might be Jack Spelt, your first actual opponent. So you are gaining
Hola!
a little bit of psychological upper hand, if you wish. So as the shin kicking begins, and you see the beginning of Dawes' bout, he he starts very cagily, almost dancing away from any attempt to land a blow on his shins, letting the other guy do a bit of work first. But when he does finally go for it, his aim is impressive. And not only does he hit the shin, he manages to angle the kick in such a way that the toe of his boot actually runs up the shin of the other
Oh,
competitor, making the guy yell in pain. And though
We call
he
that a bone sniggler.
though the guy does not yield at that point, he he is definitely in pain, and it's slowing down his footwork. And he almost gets a hit on Dawes, but Dawes just manages to zip out of the way. But even as he does so, Dawes manages to go after that same shin again, and hits it twice in quick succession. They
Wow.
line up for their next sort of their next moment, and for a while it looks as if the bout is going to go on, but Dawes' opponent eventually shakes his hand and says, "Enough, enough," and turns away to a little round of applause from the locals. And Cecil, as you're watching the guys, they don't look remotely worried about the outcome, as if they don't really care what it is. But as soon as Dawes' opponent yields and Dawes is declared the winner, they all seem to sort of cluster together slightly and like bump elbows with each other, as if this is good news for them. They're very happy to see that happen. And yet, unlike lots of other people who are going over to congratulate Dawes, they then immediately turn their back and walk off as a group.
hmm. I Firstly, I'm considering following them at this point, but before I do, I just want to glance around and see what if Manuel is doing okay for himself for a
He
few
is
minutes.
doing well. He's making an impression among the other competitors, and they all seem to be quite taken with his flamboyance. It's unusual in this part of the world, in this part of Gloucestershire, and they're quite entertained, but also, you know, they admire somebody who's confident when they're about to walk into the shin kicking circle. Um,
It's a
it's not
brutal world.
it's not the place that most people go for a happy time, but Manuel looks to be very much, a person on a mission, shall we say?
Well, I mean, Manuel is fueled by large amounts of whiskey.
Yes.
Also, Cecil. And the king has asked her to hang out here and do it, and that's quite good for a woman's ego.
Yeah.
Plus, she's not a stranger to certain sudden, sharp bouts of violence. And all she's doing is translating what she does with her bucket down to her feet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
She's feeling pretty good about this, really.
Yeah, I mean, actually, though there will obviously be people who might be physically stronger, you won't find many who've had as much of an opportunity to experience discomfort and misery as
As a
Cecily.
fisherman from Billingsgate, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But also dressing up as a bloke and doing a strange accent to the man of her dreams, like that's having a certain effect on Cecily, and she can see it's working on Cecil too. So that's helping to fuel her thunder, shall we say?
Fantastic. So
seeing that she's really confident, Cecil will head off behind after the group, but at a casual distance, just to see if there's anything about them.
okay, as they get further away and they start to feel they're away from people, they do start to exchange a few quiet words, but you are sufficiently close to them that you can overhear a little parts of the conversation. And while the individual comments don't necessarily each make it certain, after a few of them it's pretty clear that they have placed substantial wagers on the shin kicking, and that they are only going to be tracking, or they're only going to be interested in any bouts that Dawes is involved in, because one of them asks if they're going to go and watch the next one, because there's this flashy Spaniard who everyone's excited about, and one of the other ones says, no, it's that we're not here to watch. And they all sort of laugh at this and set off towards one of the refreshment tents.
I'm getting weird flashbacks, like a deja vu, like Casey Perazzo drug the water type deja vu.
Oh no, you're at the wrong end of it. Cecil will chase after them.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, my good men, excuse me. He's sort of flapping his little doily collar, trying to keep it down from curling up at the edges. He's readjusting his massive cod piece that sadly he's been forced into. He's a little bit embarrassed when Cecily's not around. Excuse me.
Yes.
I saw you watching the last bout with the Welshman Dawes, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm here to make some. I don't know if you've heard of this Spaniard man, the Manuel, I think his name is. I'm looking to make massive bets. I've heard lots about him. I'm a big fan of the shin kicking. I followed it all around. I get the results from overseas, and he's been getting some big wins. And I'm looking for people to take. He's got his voice to take bets on him for me. If anyone will match them, no one's taking him. No one's taking him seriously. But I think he's the next big thing. He's got this one guy to beat, and then I think he's got the Welshman next. But I think he's going to go all the way. I'm just wondering if anyone around here, out of you fine gentlemen, would take me on a bet on him. I think he's the one. I think unstoppable in my opinion.
The one of the chaps as they sort of get towards the edges of the refreshment tent, and one of them sort of calls out to someone working there to bring them some ale, and tankards are being filled for them. One of them turns and says, no, not this match, I think. But I'll tell you what. If Manuel proves to be as good as you think, then maybe in the next round.
Oh, I tell you, I like that. I'll tell you what, I'll come find you after he's won, and I'll definitely take that bit. Because I tell you what, once he gets going, there's nothing that can stop him. Not a bull, not poison, nothing can stop that man from winning. And he sort of slaps his thigh, gives him a nod, goodbye, and wanders off back down the hill.
Okay. Excellent. So it is now Manuel's turn to line up for the shin kicking. The slightly skinny, slightly odd-looking local who has a bit of local support. When Jack Spelt is announced, he gets a little cheer from quite a few of the locals. And he's not looking as confident as he might have done early this morning.
That's fair.
And then Manuel is introduced. And
And Manuel enters the competitors' arena by extending a foot and wiggling it and then putting it carefully down on the ground and then doing that. So he does like these 3 otherwise absurd steps in any other context but this. And then he bows very, very low and comes up again and says, I am Manuel. They call me the kicker of Seville. My brother is the barber.
okay.
And then he crouches down a little bit and gets his hands ready to place on the other guy's arms. Yeah. My name is Manuel.
Well,
prepare to die.
I
Cecil starts shouting in the crowd. I've heard he. Careful! I've heard he's broken the legs of 14 men in one night. Trying to get the crowd riled up.
He's a coach driver.
Oh.
But the
He kicked his way across France to get here.
The Bay of Biscay, I fear no man or sea.
right. The thing is,
He once punched a hammerhead shark to death.
That was only an accident, my friend. Ignore what you hear about that event.
well, the reputation that Manuel has built over the course of the
an hour
of the morning by being
Strong
remarkably flamboyant means that he's a bit of a favourite among a lot of neutrals. So when Spelt gets his little cheer and then Manuel is introduced, actually Manuel gets a significantly louder one. A lot more people joining in, which makes Spelt, a local fellow, feel a bit hard done by. He looks around like, really? Okay.
No, well, the people who cheer are rewarded with a swish of the cape and a crack of the knuckles.
Excellent.
But Manuel will lean in to his competitor and say, you can make it easy on yourself, and I will make you look good. Do not worry. I will only harm you if you make me.
Okay.
And then he drops his head dramatically and is ready to engage.
Okay. You offer a little bit of quarter, a little bit of kindness, and the referee says, "Okay, hold," and the two of you take firm hold of each other's upper arm, and
of course, Cecily's got really, really massive biceps from hauling that bloody bucket around.
oh yes, I mean at first grip you wouldn't immediately think, wow, these are very slim feminine arms. She works for a living. And they are in you are holding and just waiting for the referee to give the instruction to begin, and that's where we'll call it for tonight.
Oh, what? I had all this smack talk I've got to write down lest I forget it now. Oh, man. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. And thank you, the kicker of Seville.
Oh, thank you so much, Hype Man.
Thank you, guys. It was fun.
That was fun.
It's always fun to do a Cecil and Cecily. So, yes, this was... obviously, we're not going to turn this into a one-shot, as it turns out. There's going to be a little bit more plot yet. And plenty more shin-kicking. Because naturally, more shin-kicking.
I love how you say more plots, because I don't feel like we really engaged in a lot of plots.
No, I've learnt the hard way that with a Cecil and Cecily game, you don't put a lot of twists and turns in.
You tried very hard to guide us, but we were just having dinner and making filth.
It's just a nice simple story. If you can't sum it up on the back of a postcard, then it's too long.
What happened to the ale spill in the pub? That's what I want to know. You haven't closed enough story arcs off. Then I'm a bit upset about that.
Yes, I suspect they probably mopped it up by now.
Maybe there'll be future repercussions.
The butterfly effect. Oh.
If one guy slips on spilled ale in Gloucestershire, I don't know, an elephant drowns in somewhere else.
Exactly. That'll have no effect whatsoever in the story, but we know it happened.
No. I'm going to go and practice a Spanish accent now. Thanks, Luke.
You did wonderfully.
I think just I fear no man over and over again. I was leaning quite heavily into the Princess Bride.
Yes. You killed my father.
Prepare to die. Yeah, I was like, what other Spanish accents are there really apart from that guy? And then you get into sort of the spaghetti western gringo type stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to go there really.
Yeah. Yes. Excellent. Right. Thank you very much, everybody who came along live or who caught up on VOD. Always very much appreciated. And until next time, we will bid you a very fond good night.
Wait. What are we doing tomorrow? Do we have a plan? Is there something?
Actually, I don't know.
There's no plans at the minute.
Maybe we do part 2 tomorrow.
I don't know if I can do that. There we go. We'll message you in the day. We'll see if we can.
Yeah. All right.
There'll definitely be something.
There will be a thing. I mean, I don't know what it'll be, but there will be a thing tomorrow evening. Yes.
All right. Lovely. Thank you both. Thank you, everyone. Much love.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
I fear no man.